Hi, this is Carl the Cobra Frutch, and you're watching Lights Out.
This is Faisal Khan for Lights Out, proudly sponsored by Spartans Law, and I'm delighted to be joined by the head coach of Zhilei Zhang, Mr. Shaun George. Shaun, thank you very much for taking your time out to speak to us today. Firstly, how's your stay been in the UK so far?
Been great. I love it here.
You came out with a classic quote in the press conference, famously made by Roger Mayweather, that you don't know shit about boxing. That quote was directed towards Joe Joyce and his team. Just if you can you please explain why you said that quote during the press conference?
Adam was talking about the eye and talking statistics about how many punches Joe was throwing, and the fight would be different in the later rounds. And he wasn't paying attention to what was actually happening in the fight. You know, like nobody's talking about Zhilei's defense. Nobody's talking about Zhilei's footwork. Nobody's talking about Zhilei making adjustments according to the fight, because Joe did pick up the pace. So we had to make adjustments accordingly. So that's the biggest thing. That's one of Zhilei's superpowers, is that he could make those big adjustments.
Well, nonetheless, we do expect Joe Joyce to make a few changes going in towards this rematch, but I'm pretty sure Zhilei might even make a few changes as well. So what have you worked on differently in this camp, and given the fact that Zhilei does hold the W over Joe Joyce going into this rematch?
What was the question?
What have you worked over differently in this training camp, given the fact that Zhilei does hold a W over Joe Joyce?
I showed him how to throw his left hand. I can't give away the secrets.
Understandable. But yeah, firstly, how have you been with camp? You know, how happy are you with preparation? And how have you managed to get Zhilei's hunger even more high than it was in the first match?
I don't have to motivate Zhilei to be great. Zhilei is daring to be great. Zhilei has a focus, he has a mission, he has an aim. His aim is to be the first Chinese heavyweight champion of the world. And when I first met him, this is what he told me he wanted to do, and he's doing it. So it's right there. But right now, Joe Joyce is in our way, so we got to take care of that.
I've heard you mention in previous interviews that sometimes the judge's decision doesn't always go the away fighter's way. So you're hoping that Zhilei can end this fight with inside the distance rather than have to rely on a judge's decision if it does go to points.
The judging in the UK is horrible. But it just is. We were losing. They had us losing. One of the judges had us losing the fight. Two of the other judges only had us winning by 1 point. It's horrible. I'm not saying that bad judges is bad everywhere. It's bad in the United States too. But over here, I actually watch UK boxing, and there's always bad decisions there, like on a consistent level. So something needs to be done about that.
One of the most interesting facts about this fight is that there's so much potentially waiting for the winner and even for the loser, because there's some big, great fights you can make in this heavyweight division right now. So am I right in saying that if you can get past Joe Joyce on Saturday night, you will be looking at the mandatory position for the WBO, which is WBO World Heavyweight title, which is held by Alexander Usyk, or would you maybe even look at Tyson Fury, or even perhaps maybe an Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder?
You have to ask the managers and advisors. But if I had my choice, it doesn't matter who's next. Zhilei want to stay active. It could be Wilder, it could be Joshua, it could be Tyson Fury, it could be Usyk. Usyk, after we win this fight, we are mandatory to fight Usyk, but we got to wait. We have a little wait to get there. So we see what happens.
Usyk also has a mandatory position to hold against Hrgovic for the IBF heavyweight title. So yeah, what can you tell us how it will work in terms of Hrgovic's mandatory chances and also Zhilei Zhang's mandatory chances, because everything does seem kind of up in limbo right now. What happens next with Alexander Usyk?
Well, he has a choice. Alexander has a choice now. Either it depends on what Tyson Fury is going to do, but he has a mandatory fight with Hrgovic first, and then after Hrgovic, Zhilei get the next fight.
We all know Tyson Fury's next move is a crossover fight with former UFC heavyweight champion in Francis Ngannou. A lot of fans, including myself, would have liked to have seen him take on Zhilei Zhang after his win, or even get in that undisputed fight with Alexander Usyk. But what have you made of his next move to fight Francis Ngannou? Do you understand the business side of it, or do you think the right move was to be in an undisputed fight?
I love the sport too much. I know what he's trying to do, but I just think the WBC should strip him of his title. If you're not fighting real contenders that earn their way to get there, right? Real professional fighters that have been there, and then they're number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're not fighting any one of them, you're going to another sport to get an opponent for, they should strip him.
Tyson Fury obviously answered the question that you just given an answer to in terms of what if the WBC were to strip him, and his answers were is that he's fought 2 of his mandatories in Dillian White and Derek Chisora, and no mandatories have been ordered. So can you understand where Tyson's coming from and what he had to say?
They want to see the best fighter, and everybody consider that Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight in the world. They want to see him fight the top boxers in the world. Nobody wants to see him fight. I don't want to see him fight Francis Ngannou. But you want to do it, then you do it. I'm not watching. I won't pay to see it.
Before I let you go, I just want to get your thoughts. It's just been revealed on Twitter that Terence Crawford said that the rematch with Errol Spence Jr. has to happen at £147. We all know Terence holds all the cards and all the marbles, but given what you saw of Errol's last performance, which is against Terence Crawford, would you advise Errol Spence to go into that rematch at £147, or do you think he needs to sort of move away from that fight and go up in weight and then look to get that fight at some point in the near future?
There are so many unknowns in that fight. Like, I don't know what's going on in training camp with Errol Spence. I don't know what's going on with the negotiations and everything else. So I'm just doing what you're doing and just watching and see what's happening. I think it would be fair if Crawford gave him a 154 fight, a shot at 154, just because. But we know everybody looking for the advantage for each fight, so I don't really have an opinion on that fight.
Shaun, before I let you go, can I just get a prediction? How does the fight end on Saturday night?
Zhilei wins. That's my prediction.
Shaun George, a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to catching up with you on
Thank
Fight
you.
Night.
Appreciate it.